matchup in boys basketball tonight on Channel 12, a late conference battle between the Eden Prairie Eagles and the second ranked in the state, Hopkins Royals. John Jacobson and Ryan Iverson for tonight's game at the Lindbergh Center. Ryan, second meeting between these two teams. Hopkins winning the first one at Eden Prairie by 15, although the game was closer than that. We expect a tough battle tonight.
Yeah, it was 88-73, John, but something to note, with 8 minutes left, that game was tied. And I think what you're going to see is Eden Prairie has a little bit more size, and you got the speed of Hopkins. Transition offense for Hopkins. It wore Eden Prairie down in the first matchup. We'll see. We talked to Coach David Flom for Eden Prairie. Let's see if they can control the ball a little bit better, take good shots, and limit Hopkins in transition.
That loss for Eden Prairie was their only one in their conference, so they're a game behind Hopkins in the Lake, and the Royals with just the one loss this year to Apple Valley early in the season. They've got a good team, a little bit different team than they've had in the past. And the 19-1, the great record again.
Well, it's funny, we're talking to both, Coach Novak, junior and senior, and they said, I don't know about this year's team. You're 19-1. I mean, that tells you just the level of product that this Hopkins program has had over the year, John. It's a little different. They do have some superstars. Amir Coffey, he's young, but he's going to be a big-time college recruit. But they got a lot of balance, a lot of guys, maybe not superstars, but a lot of really good basketball players.
Let's look at our key players tonight, starting with Eden Prairie, a senior who's been a 3-year starter for them, guard Andre Wallace.
Yeah, he's averaging 20.7 rebounds. I would like to note he's the second all-time leading scorer for Eden Prairie. I don't know who he's behind or who that number one all-time leading scorer is. Must be phenomenal, but this kid's as good as they come. He's been a 3-year starter, played as a freshman. He's got to have a big, big game here tonight.
And for Hopkins, Jake Wright, who is a senior, another guy that's been around the program for a number of years, going to play college basketball next year.
Yeah, he's going to the Citadel, Division I player, another one for Coach Novak Jr., but the thing about Jake, it's amazing. He can get his shot off, John, so quick. Every team that plays Hopkins knows he's a great shooter. They have an awareness on him. It doesn't matter. He gets that shot off quick, and he can get rolling really, really quick.
So, Ryan, for Eden Prairie, what's their key tonight to try to slow down Hopkins and get a victory here?
Yeah, the key for Eden Prairie can win this game if, A, they work inside out offensively, use their size, be patient. They can't play fast. Hopkins has a tendency to make their opponents start playing fast. And if they get down early, you start jacking up threes, turning the ball over, and that's right what Hopkins wants to do. So if Eden Prairie plays inside, takes good shots, and can slow down Hopkins in transition, they're tough enough and talented enough, John. They're a state semifinal team last year. They've been here. They can do it. So I really do. I expect a really good basketball game tonight.
It'll be a good one. We'll tip it off in just a few moments. Eden Prairie, Hopkins boys basketball from the Lindbergh Center in Minnetonka. We'll have more for you in a moment on 12 Sports.
Think you found every hazard out here today? Think again. The spot you missed could be a killer. That spot on your skin could be skin cancer. If you're a man over 50, you're in a group most likely to develop skin cancer, including melanoma, the kind that kills one person every hour. That's why your best shot is to check for a spot. It's easy. Follow through and check your skin. Go to spotskincancer.org to find out how. A message from the American Academy of Dermatology.
Good crowd on hand tonight at the Lindbergh Center and Hopkins High School. It is a Lake Conference matchup between the 19-1 and 4-0 in the Lake Hopkins Royals and the Eden Prairie Eagles, 15-4. They are 3-1 in the Lake Conference. Look at our starters for tonight's game. For Eden Prairie, Alex Erkey, Grantham Gillard, and Andre Wallace the guards. Mark Gasner the forward. Zach Hovey is the center. And for your Hopkins Royals, Kamali Chambers, John Warren, and Jake Wright the guards. Amir Coffey and Stefan Sharp are the forwards.
Well, John, if you just look at the starters, I think that tells the difference between these two. You see Eden Prairie, 2 guards, 2 forwards, a center, and you see Hopkins is really essentially 5 guards. Amir, Coffey could be a forward, but all 5 players can score from the perimeter. They dribble penetration. They can all take it up in transition. So that's Hopkins. They want to get it out and go. Just like a lot like the girls basketball team. I mean, their transition in Hopkins, both boys and girls, is just second to none. But what a fun matchup. It's a great atmosphere, great crowd. Coaches versus cancer here tonight. So you got, the head coaches and assistants all wearing tennis shoes, a lot of purple, great cause, and a top 10 matchup. Number 2 for Hopkins, and I believe, number 8 or 9 for Eden Prairie. So you can't ask for anything better than this, JJ.
John Warren will jump center with Zach Helby as we get set for this one.
I think, too, John, the key is the first couple minutes. Hopkins has a tendency to get up early, quickly, and then they can just really, enforce their will on teams. If Eden Prairie can maybe win the first 3 or 4 minutes of this game, that would be a huge start.
Well, a runner was long on the shot from Sharp, and Eden Prairie rebounds in their first possession. Wallace throwing it out high to Gassner. Back to Wallace. He'll drive, gets a little separation, knocks down the jumper.
Yeah, beautiful move. He's long and quick. One hard dribble baseline. Looked like he might have got away with a little bit of a push off there, but nonetheless, Eden Prairie's on the board first, and a quick start. That's exactly what Eden Prairie needs here in a hostile crowd on the road here.
Pull-up shot comes up short for John Warren. Wallace, front court, long 3-point shot is short by Gillard and rebounded by the Royals.
Yeah, kind of a quick shot there, and like you mentioned, John, really deep. You can get that shot at any time. You want to work it around, maybe get a better look.
Right, tough fall away, baseline shot won't drop, so Hopkins 0 for 3 from the field early.
And do you notice how well John Eden Prairie's boxing out on that end of the floor? I mean, there's no Hopkins chance for an offensive rebound.
Steal here, right traveled.
And that play was a great indication of how quick Hopkins can turn a turnover or a missed field goal, and bam, 1-2 seconds, they're down on the other end shooting a layup. Unfortunately, it was a travel by Wright, but you got to stop the ball. You got to stop their offensive transition.
Gassner now to Erke. Trying to lob it down low to Holding does, who banks it in.
Yeah, that's all set up. Beautiful entry feed there by Alex Erke, the captain on this Eden Prairie team. I mean, he put it right where only Hovey could get it.
Get an offensive foul whistled against Chambers of Hopkins.
Yeah, there's a look at David Flom in his 8th season as head coach for the Eden Prairie Eagles. He's done a great job. I mean, everyone says Eden Prairie, you got so many players. You got to manage all those players in the roster. And been to the state tournament, I think the last 3 years. Last year, state semifinal. So Coach Flom's done an excellent job with this Eden Prairie basketball program.
State runner-up a couple of years ago.
Losing to this very team, Hopkins.
Ball across to Erke. Pull-up jumper from Wallace. Rims out. Ball poked free nicely by Hovey. Keep it alive to Wallace. Gets the pass back. They'll kick it back out to Wallace. Bounce pass to the baseline. Gillard turning around. The whistle. I think 3-second violation whistled against Hovey. A turnover for Eden Prairie.
And I like the way Eden Prairie's playing. A lot of passes. It looks like they're playing a little fast, and that's what Hopkins does. They make you play fast. You want to play quick, John, but you don't want to play fast.
Drive and going to the line on the foul. Sharp will shoot 2.
Well, and what a year for the senior Stefan Sharp. He's the second leading scorer, averaging over 15, almost 6 rebounds, a little over 3 assists. So he really does it all. He's got good length. And he's a good shooter, but that's what he does best. He slashes. He can get to the basket. He's long and athletic as well.
Substitutions in for Eden Prairie. Blake Cashman, a 6-foot junior, and Aaron Workin, a 6'9" senior.
Yeah, I mean, that's the size. Eden Prairie's going to have a distinct side advantage here tonight, John. Let's see. We saw him throw an early one into Hovey for a layup. Let's see if they go to Workin down low, because he's got about a 5 or 6 inch height advantage.
Steal, and here goes Coffey throwing it down.
Well, you can see the length of Coffey, Amir Coffey. He's long, and he plays the passing lanes. Oh, and there's a quick answer by Blake Cashman. Appropriate nickname. He was Cash on that one, JJ.
Makes it 6-2 Eagles. Drive by Coffey, spins to the hoop, and he's fouled. So how good is Amir Coffey going to be when he is a senior?
Yeah, he's I mean, he's got great height. He's got to be about a $160, $170. And here's a transition dunk. I mean, Hopkins plays the passing lanes looking for steals more than any other program in the state. You got to combat that with either ball fakes, back doors, things like that. But, you know, it's funny, too, if you're struggling, Hopkins come out struggling a little slow offensively. You get a steal, you get a dunk, and all of a sudden you're energized, and the offense starts to follow.
Second free throw good. Coffey, older sisters were standouts here. Sydney, who's out of Marist, and Nia at Northwestern, both having outstanding collegiate careers. Nia already a great freshman for the Wildcats.
Who do you think wins that one-on-one matchup between Amir and Nia? I bet it's a heck of a game.
Three-point shot is up and good. First basket of the game for Alex Erkey, one of the senior captains for the Eagles. Jake Wright answers.
Well, that's what he does, John. You got to have an absolute awareness on him. And like we talked about in the pregame, even when you are on him, he's so quick to get that shot off. You got to get a hand up. You almost got to deny him the basketball.
Coffey feeding right high off the glass and in.
There's that transition to Hopkins we talked about. Amir Coffey, 6'6". How would you like to have a 6'6" sophomore get a rebound in one end, push it, and then be the playmaker, too?
Lob down. Whoa, and a big block by John Warren. Back comes Hopkins right to Coffey. Swing it to Chambers. His three is good. Kamali Chambers' first basket.
Well, they were scoreless for the first 2 minutes, 11 points, just like that, and that's what they do. They get big plays. We saw a dunk by Coffey. We saw an awesome block by Warren, and now here's a 10-second count. The momentum clearly on the Royals' side. Well, we talked about the height. Here's Workin, 6'9". He goes up high for it, and look at unbelievable Warren, who's only 6'3", showing the leaping ability. He got that, John, above the rim. Just a wonderful athletic play. You know, the other thing I like about this team, John, Hopkins, you watch their spacing. You see they got 5 guys around the perimeter, and they really do a great job of spacing, opening up driving lanes, and it allows for either drives to the basket or open three-point shots.
Three-pointer by Sharp missing. Coughlin in some trouble on the sideline. Now they work it to Gallard, left corner, and back out high. Here's Gallard to Wallace. Wallace, three-pointer. Won't go, and Kerr got the rebound. I think we're going to have an offensive foul on one of the other Eagles. Looks like it'll be against Mike Cashman. As you look at Ken Milvac Jr. now in his 25th year as head coach. Over 700 career wins. Started at Blaine, had success there, and then been at Hopkins.
Well, isn't that funny? I mean, I think what sums their program up, John, when we were talking to him, and he said, yeah, we're kind of down this year, and it's 19-1 overall. I mean, just amazing track record, unbelievable coach. And it's funny, too, John, I used to play at Eden Prairie against him, and I hated him when I played against him. And now that I've, graduated and gotten to know him, I think he's an equally as good of a person as he is a coach. You know, another thing you're going to notice too with Coach David Flom in Eden Prairie, they sub a lot. They'll get guys. They play 9, 10 guys. And he's not shy about getting everyone playing time.
Jake Wright heating up now with 7 points, and the Royals on a run. They lead by 4.
Yeah, and he's the last guy, if you're an Eden Prairie fan, you want to see getting warm, because he's got range from about 25 feet and in.
Erke's open, missed on the 3. Wright quickly ahead to Coffey. Up off the glass and in.
I think you got to think about a timeout here if you're Eden Prairie. And he does. I mean, what a move. 6'6". He went from one side of the right side all the way to the left side, John, in one dribble. He's got those long arms, and then he scooped it up underneath. Just a really athletic play, unbelievable play. And what's the word we talked about, John? Transition, right?
Right.
And you can see when they get going, I mean, in transition, they are better than anyone in the state of Minnesota.
Well, how quick did Wright get that pass out to Coffey, and then I've seen a lot of him here on tape this year. He twists and spins so many times for baskets, and just a hard guy to defend because he got such great body control.
Yeah, he really does. And you know, you watch Hopkins. I've watched him in practice too, John. They practice this. I mean, it's not like they get to a game and all of a sudden it's turned on. I mean, they practice getting up the floor and no dribbles. And these guys get rebounds. All 5 guys can handle the ball, so they're taught. You get a rebound, your first look before you dribble is to see who's open. And they just pound people and run people into the ground. You know, and if you're Eden Prairie, you got to get something here to stop the bleeding. You got to get a good bucket, take your time, get a good shot on this possession, especially out of a timeout.
Wallace to Erke, back to Wallace. The swing offside occur, and 3 is long, tipped. And we'll get a foul on Eden Prairie, whistled against Mark Gasner.
Well, and I like Coach Novak, what he's doing. He's going zone there. He knows that Eden Prairie's got a size advantage, so he's forcing everything around the perimeter. Eden Prairie had 3, 4 passes and then a quick 3. Smart defense right there, changing it up to a zone.
Chambers on the wing, spins into the lane, kicks it back out with the pass. Trayvon Edwards is into the game now for Hopkins. He's number 24. This is Wright. Knocks down another one.
Yeah, and something that's you don't really think about White as, he's got a really nice, there's going to be a block. When he comes to that jump shot, John, if we watch the replay, he leans backwards. Watch this. He fades backwards, almost where you can't block it. It's impossible to get a hand up. Even though the defender's right there, he leans backwards. He's able to get his shot up over the outstretched arms of any defender, even if they're taller.
Noble Fonbele was the other guy that came in at that timeout for Hopkins. He's number 42.
Yeah, say his name 10 times as quick as you can. But he's a phenomenal player. He is really active when he gets into the game. He's really a big asset for Coach Novak to bring off the bench.
Turnover, they break up the pass. Eden Prairie gets a hand on this pass and knocks it out of bounds.
You know, Noble comes in, he's averaging just under 9 points, over 4.5 rebounds. I mean, he is active on the offensive glass. He can dribble, score, he gets to the rim. He's a phenomenal bench player.
Chambers still in the game. He's got the 2 fouls. Right, deep 3. This one comes up short. And the rebound to Gallard. To Wallace and back to Gallard. He'll take the long 3. Long, rebound by Hovey. Wallace floater off the glass.
Beautiful finish right there by Wallace, you know, averaging over 20. But you know what made that play was Hovey keeping it going, using his size, getting an extra possession.
3-point shot up and in for Trayvon Edwards.
Yeah, 6'7" forward/center coming into the game off the bench, hitting a 3-pointer. I mean, just the depth. And like I said, all 5 of these guys, whoever's in the floor, they can all shoot from 3.
Erke with a 3, his second tonight.
That's a huge shot right there by Erke.
Chambers comes back, long, rebound by Hovey. Front court, Wallace, Chambers. Hovey comes over, knocks down Chambers with a great screen and gets the pass off. Kerr's shot blocked by Edwards. Kerr got it back and stolen away by Coffey. The Fonbele up and in.
There's that transition. And look at the speed, too, of Amir Coffey. He was able to knock that away. 2 hard dribbles, and they're very unselfish. They don't care who gets the credit as long as they get a basket. And Fonbula was in the right place at the right time. And an offensive foul on Eden Prairie. They're going to call a push-off. And I believe that's on Andre Wallace. Yep. Yeah, watch how quick. I mean, great defense right there. Great block protecting the rim. But watch Amir Coffey here. He's able to knock this away, John. I mean, look at this. 1, 2, 3 dribbles, and he's all the way down. I mean, he's extremely fast and long. Great play, great player, fun to watch.
His dad, Richard Coffey, who played for the University of Minnesota, in attendance tonight.
Yeah. Eden Prairie should try to get him signed up. Maybe he could help with some rebounding. He's a great rebounder.
Wasn't he?
Great rebounder.
Yeah.
And, you know, really undersized, too, back then, if you remember.
Eden Prairie foul on Grantham Gallard. That's his first. But already the 7th team foul for Eden Prairie. And so Hopkins, if they didn't need any help offensively, now will have the bonus for the last almost 9 minutes of the half. Chambers knocks down the first and gets the bonus.
Yeah, and Chambers a 79% free throw shooter. You know, and that's the thing, when you're offensively attacking all the time, you're putting pressure on the other team's defense. You draw fouls, and with 9 minutes left, if I'm Coach Novak, I'm telling my guys, you know, attack, and make them foul us and get rewarded with free throws.
Nice pass from Wallace, and the lay-in by Workin spins around and drops.
Yeah, great play by Wallace, and I loved Workin that time. He caught it, he kept that ball up high and was able to finish. That was called around the world, John. That one, World used every inch of the rim, but did go in.
Edwards, jumper up and in.
He's got 5 points coming off the bench. Great depth, really, by both teams, but especially Hopkins here.
Chambers knocked the ball away. Kamali's older brother, Siani, playing for Harvard.
Yep.
Made an impact as a freshman last year for Harvard in the NCAA
fun
tournament.
to watch him, yeah.
Great
Absolutely.
player.
You know, Harvard really turned it into kind of a basketball power out in the Ivy League.
Ball knocked away, but picked up by Eden Prairie, and then double dribble whistled against Carter Coughlin.
Well, you notice too, John, when an Eden Prairie guy gets the ball or if it's on the floor, I mean, that Hopkins team, they just swarm to the ball, and all their hands are active. You really got to be strong with the ball, be confident with the ball, or they'll steal it.
Sharp with his first basket tonight. Good assist. Stefan Sharp finishing. 12-point game. Urke trying to knock down another 3. This one comes up short. Loose ball chased down by Wallace. Gallard on the 3. He is off tonight so far anyway on his shooting out of bounds. It's Hopkins basketball.
You know, and he scores 21 a game, so he can make that shot. But, John, we just saw that right in front of our booth. I mean, he was 5 feet behind the three-point line with no defender in front of him. You haven't been hitting, you're struggling. Take a couple dribbles in, knock a 12-footer down first. See the ball go in rather than keep shooting these, 25, 26-foot jumpers.
(28-16), Hopkins leading Eden Prairie. 7 minutes, 40 seconds to play here in the first half.
Yeah, I mean, really kind of a tale of 2 games. The first 3 minutes, Eden Prairie up 6-0, and then Hopkins really just got it going. And really the play that ignited it all was Amir Coffey's steal, bringing it down, had a 2-hand dunk. The next play, there was a big block, and just like that, the offense just exploded from transition. Again, it all comes back to transition.
Coffey's pass knocked away. Turnover for Hopkins.
Yeah,
Had a couple turnovers early, but they've been pretty good with the basketball since.
You got to go to work here, big fella.
Workman to the basket. Coffey almost had a block. Wallace tips it up and in.
Yeah, and I like what Eden Prairie did there. They go down to work it, even though he didn't get the shot to fall. You're working inside out and allowed for an offensive rebound.
Coffey drives, shot too hard, foul up and in. John Warren, first basket, all 5 starters now have scored for Hopkins.
Yeah, great balance, and That's what happens. You attack like that, your defense collapses, and there's opportunities for offensive rebounds.
Ball stolen. Sharp with a dunk.
I hate to say it, John, but it's getting in the passing lanes again. And you got to know that. You're playing Hopkins. That's what they do. I haven't seen a ball fake yet or a back door.
Guard baseline. Block. Ball gets back to Workin, and he's fouled by Sharp.
Well, Workin, that's a very appropriate last name because he's working. Great effort right there going to get the offensive rebound. Look at this play right here. I mean, just right into the hands of Stefan Sharp, and he just rams it home. The second dunk. You know, in dunks in high school, you know, this isn't the NBA. Dunks in high school, they do so much. It's only worth 2 points, but everyone gets fired up. Your bench gets fired up. Your crowd starts to get fired up, and it almost can be a 6 to 8 point swing right there. That's the second one Hopkins has got here in the first half.
Second free throw is good, working with 3 points off the bench. 13-point Hopkins lead. Chambers to right.
I like that closeout right there by Gassner. He closed out on right. That's how you do it when you're guarding the shooter.
Oh, nice pass. Another dunk. Sharp feeding John Warren. You know, we saw at the beginning of the game, Ryan, and it's what Hopkins usually does. John Warren jumping center. 6'3", that boy can really get up.
Yeah, I think we saw why he jumped center there. His head was at the rim level. You know, very similar to, you know, they got about 3 or 4 guys on this team that can really get up.
Gallard missing. Here's Coffey. Drive, shot off the glass, too strong, and the rebound by Workin.
Now, Prairie will live with that, taking a tough, contested, you know, driving, fading away layup from the wrong side. I mean, they'll live with that. It's the easy baskets, the dunks, and the transition looks that they got to eliminate. Here's another one for Hopkins.
Right. Oh, and through the hands, perhaps one too many pass from Sharp back to right.
And even though that was a turnover, if you're a coach, you live with that because you love guys being unselfish. I mean, in this team, all 5 guys can create, and they all will create for someone else other than themselves. There's no one selfish. You know, and that's the one thing I know Coach Novak does love about this team is they are very unselfish. And they're back in their zone. Let's see if Eden Prairie can work inside out here and get a good look.
Well, Wade Wallace missed on the 3, but I think we're going to get a foul on right. That'll be 3 free throws coming for Andre Wallace.
Yeah, you see Coach Novak's face. Coaches do not like when guards get fouls on perimeter jump shots. Get a hand up, but do not foul them. Instead, you're putting a kid that averages in the 20s, you know, on the free throw line for 3 free throws. And he's a great free throw shooter as well.
One more coming for the senior. Got them all in the deficit, now down to 12. Carter Coughlin back in for Eden Prairie, Gassner out.
Well, it's this critical point here, John. It's a 12-point game, 4.5 minutes left. You know, Eden Prairie, if they can battle here, oh no.
Basket by Sharp, and he's fouled. Assist to Jake Wright.
You know, and that's one of those plays, you know, Zach Hovey comes over. If you're going to foul him, you got to foul him so he doesn't get the shot off. Instead, a little touch foul, and Stefan Sharp is just too big and strong.
Comes up short on the free throw and rebound to Wallace.
I was saying, you're down 14, 4 minutes left. You want to try to get some kind of run going here where you can maybe get it back to 6 or 4 or 8. Get some momentum going into the first half.
Kerr misses on the 3. Back comes Chambers, takes it himself. Foul up, and he's fouled, and he'll go to the line. Erke commits the foul.
Well, and one of the principles in stopping transition, and I've heard Coach Flom say this before, you stop the ball. And they practice it 3-on-2, 2-on-1 every day. You got to stop the ball. That time, no one picked up Kamali Chambers. He drove all the way in, finished his own miss, and drew a foul.
I think part of it, too, is when you're defending Hopkins, and it goes back to something you talked about a couple of minutes ago, how unselfish you are. You're expecting a pass. You don't expect the guy necessarily to take it all himself. You're expecting him to dump it off to one of the guys in the wing.
Well, and what makes him so tough too, John, you know, we've seen other Hopkins teams where they had guys like a Chris Humphreys or a superstar where you knew if you slowed him down or stopped him, you'd have a good shot of winning. You know, already we've seen, you know, everyone on their starting lineup has at least 4 points already. They have a multiple, 5 or 6 guys that could score 20 points in a night. So you really don't know who to slow down.
You know, when Coach Novak talked to us before the game about his team and in some ways having a lot of work to do yet as Coughlin scores for Eden Prairie, he was specifically talking about their defense. What have you seen defensively from Hopkins so far?
Beautiful pass.
Scores from Coffey.
Sharp's been great on offense. Well, I think they've been extremely active. I mean, they really play the passing lanes. I think one of Coach Novak's concerns was they gamble too much, try to get a steal too much instead of playing good, sound defense. Tonight, I mean, they've been great. They've trapped, they're getting steals, deflections. They've helped side on defense. I mean, and they're Hovey, and that's what Eden Prairie's got to do. But their defense tonight has been absolutely phenomenal. Part of the other thing, too, John, when you score so much and you're in transition, the other team's going to get a lot of opportunities. You may give up more points. But, hey, if you're scoring 88, 89 points a game in high school, you're going to win 19. You're going to go 19-1.
Right to Chambers. Shot by Sharp, a tough one, and he gets it to go.
Well, Sharp made that play, great move, but what made it really was Jake Wright. They had such an awareness on him. Both guys doubled him, and Sharp was able to get in. And there, I love Eden Prairie going in to the big fella, Zach Hovey, who's a great tight end, actually going to Miami of Ohio on a football scholarship as a tight end.
Free throw line jumper missed for Wright. Erke rebounds. 2:15 to go, 14-point margin for the Royals. Warren, 3, long rebound by John Warren.
Yeah,
Wallace, rather, with the miss.
Well, it's tough there. Wallace, a good shooter. It's a good shot, but when you shoot a quick pull-up 3 like that, you got no chance for an offensive rebound. And if you're not going to make it, I mean, it's an easy rebound and go for Hopkins.
Under 2 minutes to go. Right from downtown.
Yeah. That's just a heck of a move. Sometimes good offense beats good defense. He gave a couple of dribbles, a couple of shimmies. I think if you're guarding him, you got to make him drive. And if he beats you driving, then so be it. But that's what he does. He's a 40% three-point shooter, which is phenomenal at the high school level. You got to make him drive. Easier said than done.
Minute 20 to play.
Well, what's interesting, too, they're fronting Zach Hovey down low. Eden Prairie's got to go some type of high-low and see if they can continue to get the ball inside. That's where they've really had success here tonight.
Ball away from the basketball on Coffey.
You know, and if you look at that move, Erke's guarding him, and great move by Wright. He gives a couple dribbles, a little shimmy, and Erke's backing up. As a shooter, that's all you need, a guy backing up where you can get to a quick release. You almost want to close in on him and make him put it on the floor.
Fonbele in again for Hopkins. Vinny Shaheed, number 14, also in, and he just picks up his first foul.
Yeah, I was going to say that was clearly a body foul. He actually fouled him earlier than that.
Only the 16th foul on the Royals, so Eden Prairie still just an inbound play.
Oh, nice play.
Well,
great awareness right there by Wallace. Seeing the big fella Aaron working, just throw it up at the rim and let him catch it. Excellent play. Let's see if Eden Prairie can go on some kind of run here before the half. Of course, right as I say that, It's raining, it's pouring, and it's called a Jake Wright thunderstorm.
His third 3 in the half, and he scored 15 points in all. Lob down low to work and gets a block, gets the ball back. Follow-up won't go. Another try, another block, and a foul this time.
That's just tremendous effort right there. Blake Cashman, he's only 6 foot, junior. He's battling in there with the big fellas, long fellas, and that's pure effort going after that. Good to see him get rewarded, get to the free throw line.
John Warren picking up the foul. It's his first.
If you're anyone, John, other than Apple Valley, who arguably has more talent than this Hopkins team, you really have to almost play a perfect game against Hopkins. In little things in the scouting report, like Jake Wright never leaving him. Well, we've seen him get open here 2 or 3 times, and you can't do that. He's too good of a shooter. You know, passing the ball and creating turnovers. We've seen, 6 points off of dunks. There you go. I mean, between the two of it, that's 12 points. You know, if you take those away, it's a much closer ball game. But you almost have to execute your game plan flawlessly to beat this Hopkins team.
15 seconds to go. Coffey holding for 1. Now we'll run it. Coffey, nice dump down low, but then Edwards unable to handle it. Eden Prairie gets it back. He'll have a chance to finish at the basket, and Gassner does. As we come to an end of the half, a good finish for the Eagles. They score the final 4 points, but a good first half for Eden Prairie.
Yeah, great court awareness there. Beautiful fast break. Just got it off in the nick of time. That's a big bucket. You get some momentum, positive momentum going into halftime, John.
Strong first half for Hopkins, 48-34, and Ryan, it's fun to watch this Hopkins team play.
It really is. I mean, they got everything to be a state champion. They got a great shooter. They got great length, great athleticism. They got great defense. They rebound. I mean, they do everything. They got a great bench. They got a coach that's been there and done that. They have all the components to be great, and they're fun to watch, too.
We'll take a break. We'll come back with more of our Lake Conference boys basketball game. Hopkins and Eden Prairie will return to the Lindbergh Center after this timeout.
Just a reminder, kids who participate in high school activities tend to go a little farther than those who don't. Take part. Get set for life. National studies show that students who participate in activities like music, sports, and drama not only have better grades and attendance, but they develop the character to handle adversity, the grace to accept defeat, and the self-confidence to start over. Take part. Get set for life.
Welcome back to the Lindbergh Center. At halftime, it's Hopkins leading Eden Prairie 48-34 on our 12 Sports game on this Friday night. Highlights from the opening half of play here at the Lindbergh Center. Eden Prairie scoring the first 4 points. Andre Wallace knocking down the early jumper for the Eagles. Jack Hovey inside, able to jump in 2. But Hopkins, as they do, they get out.
That was the play, John, that really turned the momentum of this game, right there.
Amir Coffey with the steal and the dunk the other way. Jake Wright's been outstanding. Nice pull-up jumper in the lane for the senior there. And we talk about his three-point shooting, but he can really create his own shot when he needs to.
Well, he's got great body and spacing. He kind of leans, falls backwards, fades a little. There's one of 3 dunks there in the first half. Here's the third one. But you're right, he gets to that spot, and he just rises up, and he leans back. His shot's really hard to block. This was a big basket, John, at the end of the half. really well run. They got a stop on one end and were able to score there under a couple seconds. At least give them some positive momentum going into halftime.
14-point game. Wallace with 9 points. Hubby and Erkey 6 each, working with 5. Wright with 15 to lead Hopkins. Sharp with 10, and Chambers with 7. Halfway through, it's Hopkins 48, Eden Prairie 34. We're back with more Lake Conference boys basketball from the Lindbergh Center after this timeout.
You always made sure I brushed my teeth.
You told me that smart was cool.
You always told me to dream big.
To all of those parents who took the time to make raising their children their most important job, we'd like to say,
thank you.
Thank you.
From the bottom of my heart. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
I never thought I'd miss you half as much as I do. It must be love, love, love. It must be love, love, love. Nothing more, nothing less. Love is the best.
It must be love. It must be hospice.
Halftime from the Lindbergh Center. Hopkins leads Eden Prairie by a score of 48-34. These teams have played a lot of great games in boys basketball over the years, including one nearly 17 years ago, Ryan Iverson, March 12th, 1997, from the pavilion. Look at that young man. Look at that hair.
Wow.
Ryan Iverson, a junior, and Hopkins playing in the section final. And Ryan, your team lost by a point in this one. It certainly wasn't your fault. You had 19 points in a season. You averaged like 23 a game. Look at the moves, a little finger roll there, like George Gervin.
I thought I dunked that, but maybe my memory. I remember this.
This was right at the end of the game where Ryan misses a three, gets it back, makes it with 5 seconds left. Eden Prairie's ahead. And as you look at the replay again, and actually it was about 20 seconds left, Hopkins came down. Jared Nunes was their star player. As you look at Ken Novak, and he got fouled on a three by one of your teammates, made 2 free throws, and you lost by a point.
Great games. I mean, and if you look at that, the atmosphere at those, I think the pavilion holds about 8,000, and it was packed to the brim. And it was just great atmosphere, great memory. And, God, I mean, just a tribute to Kenny Novak. I mean, he's been doing it that long. And every year they're right there. Almost as similar to Mike Grant and Eden Prairie football. I mean, those two really are probably the greatest ever in the state of Minnesota. But what a fun memory, and I can't believe it was 18 years ago, John. Unbelievable.
So Ryan in our pregame was talking about Andre Wallace, the second leading scorer. This young man, Ryan Iverson, the leading scorer in Eden Prairie basketball history.
Well, like I said, if you shoot enough times, you should be the leading scorer. But how fun. Great.
You guys still made it to state, what, twice?
Yep,
in
we
your
did.
3 years?
Yep.
Start of the second half, and Hopkins gets an early basket from John Warren. Hasn't scored a lot tonight, but yet he has 6 points.
Well, yeah, in a disappointing first possession, Eden Prairie, they get in, they turn the ball over. You know, out of halftime, you're talking about execution. That's not the way you want to start the game or the half off.
We'll see Hopkins again on Tuesday night on 12 Sports. They play non-conference game at Osseo. What a great tournament, state tournament game those two teams played a couple of years ago. Multiple overtime game that Osseo went on their way to winning the state championship.
Well, really, probably the last 5 to 7 years. I mean, Osseo and Hopkins really the two state powers in large school basketball. But, you know, to go back on that last possession by Hopkins, how easy do they make offense look?
Right.
I mean, Amir Coffey hasn't had a huge game scoring. But look at this drive baseline, hits a cutting Stefan Sharp. I mean, just easy. They're getting whatever they want, whenever they want. And on the flip side, Eden Prairie's really working to get tough shots. You know, here's the long contested 25-footer, and we talked about in the first half. That time Grantham Gillard gets it to fall. Really, his first shot from deep
First basket of the night after missing 3 triple tries in the first half. Coffee off the glass, won't go, but he's fouled. He'll go to the line and shoot 2.
You know, and that's you don't need a foul there. You get Coffee driving a little out of control. He's falling down, fading. Make him hit that tough shot. If he makes that, hats off to him. Instead, you bail him out with a foul, and he gets 2 free throws out of it. If you're Eden Prairie, you're starting to think, okay, we need to start getting stops. We can't trade baskets with him. We got to get stops.
Coffee averages 15.2 a game. He's been held to 5 so far tonight.
5, but he seems like he's been everywhere, doesn't it, John?
Right.
You know, getting steals. I don't know how many assists he's had, but I guess he's in the 4 to 6 range. Probably 6 to 7 rebounds. He's had a couple of big blocks on one end.
16-point margin. Lead was 14 at halftime. Wallace, pull-up shot, won't go. Gillard hard to the floor, and they're going to call Coffee for a foul. They do, and that's his 3rd.
Yeah, again, a tough fadeaway shot right there. That's just pure athleticism by Gillard going up and get it.
Didn't seem like Coffee got much of them.
No. I think because of the fall, it looked awkward. That you almost looks like it's got to be a foul, but I mean, look at the they're relentless defensively, going after the ball. It's like sharks sensing blood in the water. That ball's loose. They're on it.
Gillard knocks down another 3. He's averaging 21 a game, and going to try to get them all in one half.
Oh God, if he can get him going, John, and you know, get hot here, Eden Prairie needs his scoring. That could be huge.
Coffee spins, tough shot, won't go.
Great defense, unbelievable defense by Andre Wallace. That time he didn't bail him out either.
Gillard shot, that one goes off the side of the basket, gets his own rebound. 3rd try up and in by Workin. 11-point game suddenly, 53-42.
In the last few possessions, Eden Prairie looks like they're attacking. They're not being bashful. They're going hard at the basket. Ooh, I thought he got away with a push-off there, JJ. Jake Wright looked like he got away with a push-off instead. Yeah, watch this. There, you can see. Yeah, I think he got a little bit of hand in the back behind Cashman. Either way, nice offensive rebound. Kind of stalls the momentum of Eden Prairie here. No, I think if you're David Flom, you want the ball in Gillard or Wallace's hands and just see if they can drive and make stuff happen. That time they're going to call push-off on Workin. He was posting up with his off arm there, and he shoved a little bit to try to create space, and they called him on it.
Kamali Chambers front court with the basketball, 55-42. Chambers quickly to the basket, missed the shot on the layup, and here's Wallace back the other way for Eden Prairie. Wallace driving on Warren, who blocks it out of bounds.
Well, your question earlier, and Kenny Novak saying they don't know if they're good defenders. I mean, that you don't get better individual defense than that. He cut him off with the penetration and still got it up with the block.
Lob to Gillard, who was off balance. Back comes Hopkins, and Wright finishes. Wright with 19. Gillard trying to get the pass off the inside. Does. Too strong on that try, out of bounds to Hopkins. I'll be back in for Workin for Eden Prairie.
Even though it's still 15, John, I like the energy level of Eden Prairie here in the second half. It seems like they've picked it up a notch, both defensively and offensively.
Right, nice great pass down low to Warren's tap, and another try up and in.
Well, he just wanted to get an extra rebound there on the stat line, but what a pass. Jake Wright, you get a good shooter like that, he shot fakes, everyone pays attention to it, and then he finds a cutter right there at Warren. Just a great pass, unselfish play. Yeah, watch this. You can see the whole defense there, they stop. And when you got a good scorer, everyone's focused on him. And all of a sudden your guy cuts back door and you get a wide open layup. That's a great pass.
Foul before the shot by Gillard, whistled against John Warren. That's his second, third team foul on Hopkins here in the half. Here's Wallace, lost the ball on the dribble, right. Ahead to Edwards. Fonblay can't get it to go. Back comes Eden Prairie. They'll run the break. Wallace trying to beat right off the dribble, missed the shot. Had a good move to the basket. Ryan couldn't make the hoop.
Yeah, all that jelly and no toast. You got a great move. You get open, collect yourself, and finish it. It was a heck of a move, John. You got to grab yourself, make sure you finish that.
Jumper up and in by Gallard. He's got 8 of their 10 points here in the second half.
I don't know what David Flom told Gallard at half, but whatever it was, it's working. You know, and they need his points.
Right 3. This one too strong, and Wallace rebounds. Has Gallard on his right, fakes it, goes to the hole himself and scores. Yeah. This time he got it to go in.
Well, you talk about transition. That time, Eden Prairie giving Hopkins a dose of their own medicine, but look at that. You know, 2 seconds later, Hopkins back down the floor with a great bucket, and that's the first time we've really talked about Noble Fonboulay tonight, who's normally very, very active.
Nice assist from John Warren. 61-46, 3 from Wallace. Short rebound. Hubby up and in. His first basket in the second half, now 8 points in the game. Off the glass, up and in for Chambers. And a technical, I think, on Chambers. They've gotten a warning, Ryan, several possessions ago for knocking the ball out of the basket as it came through and a made shot. And I think this is a follow-up on it that they're going to call a foul on it.
For the first time, John, about a minute and a half, 2 minutes ago, they called it delay of game.
No, I think I take it back. I think what he thought he was fouled on the play, and he came to say something to one of the officials, and then the trail official called the technical. So I think I'm wrong on the reason he got the technical here. I don't think he touched it, but I think he was.
Was he complaining about
Well, he was complaining they thought he should have gotten fouled on that, or should have gotten a foul call and been at the free throw line. Didn't seem like anything too egregious. He kind of looked at the referee and made a little motion.
Yeah,
let's look at it one more time.
Take a look at it. Great move, a nice strong finish. Yeah, and nowadays referees, they do not want to be shown up.
So that's what was the reason for the technical.
Yeah, pretty mild, but still, you know, they, especially at this level, a prep high school level, you don't want you to play the game and you know, leave the refs, all that stuff alone. Just play hard, be a good sport. And I thought that was pretty mild, John, but still.
That would be a very mild, like, Kevin Garnett complaint to the referee.
Well, yeah, thank God they didn't used to call that a technical when I played, or I might have got kicked out of a bunch of games. Did you see there, John? Did you see what was open there? Back door. They overplay the passing lanes, and that's something Zach Colby, you got to know that in the scouting report. Know that they're going to try to, you know, play that passing lane. Just hold it a second longer. They would have had Andre Wallace there, back door, wide open for a layup or a jump shot. You just got to be poised with the basketball against this Hopkins team.
Chambers 3, spins out. Ball tipped to the corner and chased down by Wallace. Front court to Gallard. Gallard, looks like he got knocked in the face.
Oh, they're gonna. I thought his feet slipped there. I thought that was a travel. They're gonna get a push, foul on the play. And kind of the reverse of the first half here, John. Hopkins has 5 team fouls already.
I think Warren kind of trying to swipe down the ball, got him in the face, and that was the reason for the foul. That's his third. And now Hopkins timeout, their first one they've used tonight, with 11:53 to go. Mike Grant is named the National Football Coach of the Year for high school this past week down at the Super Bowl. They're out in the Super Bowl out in New Jersey. You can see him talking with the Hopkins Athletic Director Dan Johnson on your left. Mike Grant, Eden Prairie football coach. So many state championships for them, including, what, 2 for you, and you were their quarterback and linebacker?
Yeah, we started it off back in 96, 97, and You know, just like Kenny Novak, you know, Mike's just done a heck of a job building an unbelievable program and a great coach. Fun to play for, too.
Won the Don Shula National High School Coach of the Year Award. So congratulations to Coach Grant. Got to see the Super Bowl last Sunday.
And a lot of people don't know this, too, but Pete Carroll was an assistant with the Vikings, and Bud Grant was around. So Mike and Pete Carroll knew each other really well. And Mike and Pete still talk, you know, to this day, and, you know, I'm sure share a lot of stuff together.
Working. He's come off the bench. He scored 9 points in the game.
Well, I like the Eden Prairie big guys, Hovey and Working together. You know, that I don't think scoring will be the problem tonight. I mean, on this pace, Eden Prairie is going to end up around the 70-point mark. They just haven't been able to stop anyone on the defensive end. And you just see the difference. I mean, Eden Prairie has to work. Great move, great strong move right there by Erke, getting to the basket for a chance for three. But you see how Eden Prairie's got to work to get shots, where Hopkins is 1-2, bam, bam, in a wide open layup. And a great move, strong move that time. Someone reached, got their hands caught in the cookie jar, and Erke strong enough to finish it.
Right whistled on the foul, his second. 16 fouls now on Hopkins. Erke with 9 points, 68-53. And that pass sailing behind Warren, as Wright didn't anticipate him moving, and turnover for Hopkins. Eden Prairie with a little run a few minutes ago. They need to make another big push here, Ryan.
Yeah, they got to get it down to, you know, under 10 with, 6-7 minutes left.
But can they do it? So many teams think they would like to have a run, and it just never comes against Hopkins often. You can score perhaps, but hard to stop them on the other end. Is a nice jumper knocked down by Wallace.
Yeah, nice mid-range. To be honest, John, I thought Hopkins' defense tonight has been phenomenal. They've given up nothing easy. Eden Prairie's had to work for every basket they're getting.
Fonbele with the hoop.
I love his game, John. He is, very undersized, forward, slender, about 6'3", maybe 6'4", but he's got a motor. He really plays hard.
Need a one-on-one, the 7th foul on Hopkins.
Yeah, nice mid-range pull-up there by Andre Wallace. Look at this move by Fonbele. I mean, a couple games of Hopkins I've seen, he's been so active when he gets in. Any other program, I think, John, he'd be a starter and a leading scorer at that.
Wallace to the line for 1-on-1. He's made all 4 of his free throw attempts tonight. Last foul is on John Warren. That's his 4th, so he's got to head to the bench. 70-56 with 9:48 to go. Stephon Sharp to Coffee.
Oh, nice.
Stripped away by Gallard. And they get the steal. Hovey to Gallard.
Oh,
bounce
nice
pass
pass
ahead, and the finish at the hoop for Cashman.
Well, let's see if that's a play that can get him started. That great defense by Gallard. He played Amir Coffey, who's left-handed, played him to his left side. See him over there playing, just racks it out, and a great hustle by Hovey to keep it alive. How about this transition pass? Up ahead, just over right, stretched arms. Eden Prairie giving Hopkins a dose of their own transition offense. Well, they're doing what we said, John. They made a run. They got it to 11. And if I'm David Flom, what I'm telling my guys is, okay, we're down 11. There's not over 9 minutes left. That's a basket a minute. We don't have to get it all back at once. Every minute, let's just win that minute. See if we can get up 2 per minute. And all you want is it to be within 4 or 6 with a couple minutes left where you have a chance to win the game. I do. I love the effort of Eden Prairie tonight. I mean, Hopkins has played a pretty close to flawless game here tonight. Eden Prairie's taken their best shot, you know, and we're down by almost 20, and they just battled back, and really proud of their effort.
Next game for Eden Prairie comes Tuesday at Edina. As we mentioned earlier, Hopkins has Osseo on Tuesday. They also have a Saturday game, a game tomorrow against Benilde St. Margaret's on the road. Hovey takes the charge.
Well, Hopkins came out, John, in a set play, and Fonboulay caught that driving. That's just great defense, great team defense. As Hovey was not guarding Fonboulay, came over to help and took the charge. That's a big-time play. Now Hopkins playing a 2-3 zone. See if Eden Prairie can work it around, either get an easy shot down low or maybe get an open look from the perimeter. You want to stay aggressive. Eden Prairie's done a nice job attacking.
15-footer up and in for Andre Wallace. 8 points in the second half, 17 in the game, and the margin is 9. Closest Eden Prairie has been since the first half.
Yeah, he's got a great mid-range game, doesn't he, John? He gets there, he's athletic, he can jump, stops on a dime, elevates. That's about the third or fourth mid-range jumper he's knocked down.
Edwards for 3 and a big basket for Hopkins.
Yeah, it really was. The momentum was all on Eden Prairie's side. Trayvon Edwards, not known to be a great three-point shooter. That's a shot they want, Eden Prairie wanted, and just knocked it down. It's a big-time shot.
Oh, Andre Wallace knocks down a 3. That's a big shot, too. 73-64.
Great defense by Wallace again.
Cashman to Gallard.
Here they come.
Timeout, Hopkins 73-66 with 7:45 to go.
And offensively, as a fan, you're watching this game, you're thinking Eden Prairie's really picked it up on offense, and they have. Look at that deep contested 3. Wallace knocks it down, and then Gallard. But look at it's all come down here on defense, John. They're getting strips, steals, you know, one shot and done. They're contesting right. Right's not running off of screens, getting open looks. It always starts on the defensive end, and Eden Prairie's picked it up. And it's funny, too, John, how you get a couple stops on defense, how that transitions to good offense on the other end. Who won the Super Bowl, John? The best offense or the best defense?
Best defense.
There you go.
Yes, no doubt this year. Coach Novak getting after his guys a little bit, too, in the huddle.
Well, and I think deep down, if you ask Coach Novak, close games are good, and you want to go through a couple of them during the year, because when you get to the playoffs or the state tournament, there's going to be close games, especially if Hopkins were to meet in Apple Valley again, or even a Lakeville North. That JP McCura, have you seen him play, John? He's really fun to watch.
Yeah, last year,
too.
Not this year I haven't, but yes, last year I saw him in the state tournament.
I went to a game this year, he had 57 points. And I mean, just amazing talent. Really, the whole state of Minnesota, there's a lot of talent, both girls and boys this year in basketball.
So we'll see what Hopkins can do out of that timeout now. Their lead trimmed to 7, closest we've been since early in the first half. Chambers. He'll hold it out top. Now gets it to right. Chambers, tough shot, will go. Rebound by Wallace.
Good defense, Eden Prairie.
Excuse me, make it Gallard on the rebound. Hovey missing underneath. Gallard gets it back. Shot won't go. Hovey, another try won't go. Ball tipped. Loose ball. And we'll get a foul on Eden Prairie, I believe on Hovey, as he commits the foul. Going for the loose ball with Sharp.
Yeah, Eden Prairie had a couple of good looks, good opportunities there. Nice mid-range and about 3 or 4 offensive opportunities. And fortunately for Hopkins, none of them went down. There was a chance there to cut it to 5, John.
So we stay at 73-66. Now inside of 7 minutes to go. Edwards, open look, Chambers 3. Spins out. Rebound to Cashman.
That was as close to a make, I think, as you can get without it actually being a make.
Cashman shot up and in.
Yeah, not an easy shot. He had Amir Coffey, who was much taller and longer than him, hanging all over him, and Cashman still able to knock it down. We got a 5-point game, John.
73-68. We're going to get John Warren back in the game. They've been a little bit out of sync since he left, Ryan.
Yeah, and Coach Novak's calling. He wants an official's timeout. Warren, you know, you can see him just not moving at all on that angle. Here, maybe it was a fake.
Driving and missing. The shot, though, was sharp.
Yeah, you can't argue with the run. I mean, if he's good enough to drive, whoa.
Wallace, wild three, it won't go.
Yeah, Coach David Flom has his hands on his head. Can't believe that shot. You can get that whenever you want. You gotta get a better shot than that. He's been feeling it though. He's knocked a bunch of those down tonight, so you can't blame him. You like the confidence.
Chambers up and in. Stops the run for Eden Prairie for Hopkins. Margin back to 7. Hovey on the block, might have been fouled by Sharp. Sharp came down a little bit on that missed layup, came down on the ankle wrong, and he's been limping the last couple of trips down the floor since then. He's going to come out here.
Yeah, how quick is Chambers when he gets that ball, that first step? He's got to be as quick as anyone in the state.
No foul in the last play, just an out-of-bounds play to Eden Prairie, and Wright's fouled. Foul's going to be on Cashman. It's his third. 4th team foul in Eden Prairie. Eden Prairie, as you mentioned, Brian, hanging in there. They took Hopkins' best punch.
Yeah.
Lesser teams would have gone out when they got down 18 points, and they've gotten down as close as 5. Right now the margin's 7.
Yeah, if Eden Prairie loses this game, the play they're going to look back on, they had it down to 5. And Andre Wallace, they got that stop, and he pulled up from about 28 feet and missed, and then Hopkins was able to score. That was a big, big turning point.
Edwards missed for Hopkins. Cashman finds Wallace and back out high. Gassner on the dribble, picks it up now and gets it off to Gallard. Whistle. And Eden Prairie takes the timeout with 4:17 to go.
Yeah, and I like that timeout. David Flom, he sensed there was just kind of nothing going, almost like a turnover waiting to happen. And it's a great opportunity. He has, you know, plenty of timeouts left. They still have 2 remaining. You're down 7. Maybe he could drop a play here, try to get an easy bucket. If I was coaching them, John, what I would do, I'd come out in the set play and I'd go for a back door, see if you can get an easy layup, get a quick 2, maybe pick up full court, try to change the pace, and maybe you can get a trap and a steal, and all of a sudden, you know, it's down to a 1-possession game.
Fans have come out tonight, Ryan, and supported their teams from both schools.
Yeah, only in Minnesota do you see high school kids wearing Hawaiian shirts when it's 3 below out.
There's more of them. Hopkins looking for its 20th win of the season tonight and staying unbeaten in the conference. If they can get a victory, Eden Prairie win ties them with the Royals for first place in the lake.
And we talked, it's really no surprise this was a close game. You know, Eden Prairie Hopkins both had numerous state tournament appearances recently, and this game was tied the first time they played with 8 minutes left. Tonight a little bit different, where it was a big Hopkins lead. Instead, Eden Prairie claws back.
Chambers knocking the ball loose and get a foul on Hubby for Eden Prairie. That'll be his 4th.
Yeah, watch this angle here, John. I mean, you can't make that pass. It's almost like he threw it right to Kamali Chambers. I mean, that's a play you can't make out of a timeout, too. There was nothing there. You got to be patient. You got to take better care of the basketball.
Hopefully, to stay in. They need him on the inside, even with the 4 fouls. We're down to inside of 4 minutes to go in the game.
Hopkins at this point, I mean, they'll be happy to take a few seconds off the shot clock, open it up.
Edwards scores, and he gets the 5th foul. And hopefully you fouled out on that play and the drive and the finish by Trayvon Edwards.
Yeah, he's in double figures now, too, but what a big-time move. Hopkins takes about 20 seconds off the clock. They got great spacing, and they got so many athletes. Trayvon Edwards, 6'7", long, lengthy, 2 hard dribbles, and he finishes at the rim and foul. What a big play. What a big answer for Hopkins.
Edwards averaging 6 points per game. Has 10 tonight. It's a 9-point game. Wallace and foul by Chambers. 3rd foul on Chambers. And Wallace back to the line. He's been perfect there tonight.
Yeah, great free throw shooter.
First miss tonight in 6 attempts for Wallace. Coughlin in and working out.
Yeah, Eden Prairie going small. It's the first time they haven't had Workin or Hovey in at the same time. So they're going to pick up here, I bet. Maybe look for some type of trap defense. See if they can create some turnovers. Hopkins, on the other hand, they'll be happy to take 4 or 5 good passes, open it up, see if they can get a driving lane.
We're going to have an Eden Prairie foul on Erke. Excuse me, to be on Cashman. That's his 4th. That's the 7th team foul. And Chambers to the line for 1-and-1. This free throw was good. Kamali Chambers, 6 for 6 from the free throw line.
Yeah, both teams really done a great job of shooting free throws here tonight, John. Ooh.
Cashman almost traveled and able to get the pass off to Wallace. Won't go on the shot and rebounded by Warren.
It says John Warren's only 6'3", John. Doesn't he play a lot longer than that?
Yeah, he sure does.
You look at him in his arms, he looks like he's about 6'6".
Coffey back out to Edwards. Hopkins will run a little bit of clock. Then Chambers to the basket, and he's fouled. And Coughlin picks up his 1st.
Yeah, Coach Flom is just begging for an offensive foul. He's saying Kamali Chambers lowered his shoulder and drew the contact. And I hate to say, I'm not trying to be a homer here, John, but that one, it did look like that was pretty solid defense by Carter Coughlin.
Now, you remember how good Siani Chambers was as a free throw shooter, set a state tournament record a couple of years ago. And his younger brother learned well. Now 8 for 8 from the line.
Yeah, you wonder, these families like the Coffey family where you got this basketball in between a lot of siblings. Their Christmases and pickup games in the driveway, they must be really fun, really competitive too. And, when I was growing up, I beat my stepbrother when I was 7 and he was 13. So it really wasn't that much fun as we got older.
Well, Eden Prairie did a great job to get it down to 5, but have been unable to close any closer. Now they're down 12 with just 2:25 to go. They need points and in a hurry.
Well, and that's what great teams do. I mean, games are all about momentum. There's a great block. And I think Coffey came over and deflected that, but great teams do that. Eden Prairie had all the momentum, John, here in the second half, and Hopkins just stopped it and really came down offensively. They've executed. They're taking time off the clock, either forcing Eden Prairie to foul them or they're getting easy looks.
Under 2 minutes to play. Chambers will back it out. To Jake Wright. Now it's Warren. Oh, finds the wide open Edwards underneath for 2.
Yeah, that's what happens. Eden Prairie, you get caught watching the ball. Your guy sneaks behind you, and Edwards, great job cut into the basket, wide open.
How good of a passer is John Warren, though? We've seen him make a couple of nice plays tonight. There's a good drive by Cashman for the hoop, and he'll go to the line.
Yeah, Cashman's been tough tonight, John. And that's just a really good drive. He takes the contact, finishes, excellent move. He's the third Eden Prairie player tonight in double figures. He's got 10. I'd expect Eden Prairie to pick up here in the full court.
Wright gets fouled. He was fighting through. Nope, we're going to get a timeout call, rather. Hopkins will take the timeout with 1:27 to go.
Well, I like that timeout. Coach Novak, obviously, he's going to tell his guys, hey, they're going to pick up, they're going to trap, you know, get your press offense set. And the one thing about Hopkins that I actually like is they'll take time off the clock, but he's always got his guys, Coach Novak, in attack mode. If they can get a layup or an easy bucket, you know, they're going to. Eden Prairie, if you're on the flip side, you're telling your guys, let's see if we can trap, get a steal, create a turnover. If we can't, you know, then who are we going to foul? Who are the worst free throw shooters for Hopkins? And unfortunately, they have a lot of good free throw shooters. Yeah, great crowd tonight too, John. Have you noticed over the years since you've been broadcasting, I mean, have crowds seemed less engaged than they did 15, 20 years ago, more engaged, the same? I mean, have you noticed that?
I'd say for the students, they're probably just as engaged or more, but overall, a lot of times the crowds have dwindled. There aren't as many people out on a Friday night or a Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Other things to do, I guess, to keep you occupied. Yeah. It's too bad to see. For those of us that cover high school sports, you know.
That was exactly what Eden Prairie wanted. They got Wright to turn his back, pick up his dribble right at half court. Got a deflection, unfortunately it was out of bounds, but that's exactly what Eden Prairie wanted. There's a trap, they're trapping the first pass.
Warren to Chambers, Coffey kicks it back out, right in the corner.
That's one of the only times you'll see Wright be wide open for 3 and not take it.
Now drive and a great dish. Edwards another 2.
Great pass, excellent unselfish pass. And you can hear the crowd saying goodbye. And I hate to say it, John, but this one might be over.
Andre Wallace scoring, Warren to the front court. Ball passed and stolen by Cashman, trying to get it to Coffey. Cashman will hurry a 3, missed it. It's out of bounds to Hopkins with 32 seconds to go. So Hopkins will go to 20-1 with the win. Ryan, a little tested here in the second half, certainly.
Yeah, and they're really deep, and they didn't have their best game here tonight, at least in the second half, but they beat a very good team, a hot team that had won 4 in a row, and they beat them by 12, and really this game probably could have been a little bit worse than that. But a great game, a lot of fun, great atmosphere, John, and a lot of fun to call.
They'll dribble out the clock. And the Hopkins Royals defeat Eden Prairie for the second time this season. Final score 85-73.
Yeah, you can see the purple, all that. Again, a great cause, coaches versus cancer.
So Hopkins stays unbeaten, Ryan, in the Lake Conference. They're 5-0. Eden Prairie drops to 3-2 in the conference and 15-5 overall. And Hopkins with a test tomorrow night against decent Benilde St. Margaret's team. They've had better teams in the past, but they've got some talent. Then Tuesday, the game we'll see at Osseo.
Yeah, that should be a great game. And, you know, I think that'll be a great game for Hopkins just to gauge kind of where they're at. Maybe not being challenged as much since they played that Apple Valley game. You go on the road at Osseo, if they're able to win there and win it convincingly, they got to be heading into this stretch run of the playoffs, getting ready for the state tournament, feeling like, hey, we want a shot here at Apple Valley again, as Apple Valley tries to defend their state championship.
That'll do it for our telecast tonight from the Lindbergh Center. For Ryan Iverson and all of our crew, I'm John Jacobson. Thanks so much for tuning in for our coverage of Lake Conference hoops tonight. The Hopkins Royals defeat the Eden Prairie Eagles 85-73 the final.